Hello to all of our Pretty Deep family, and thank you for being here again. I am Dajana.
And I'm Petra.
And we're excited to start today's episode a little differently. We're going to play a little Pretty Deep or Pretty Dumb segment. And I'm just going to ask Petra 3 different things and see what she thinks about them, if they're pretty deep or pretty dumb.
Oh no, actually I'm gonna start.
Okay.
All right. Sometimes we outgrow people we still love.
Pretty deep.
Mm-hmm. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, I think we outgrow people all the time, and the older we get, our circle gets a little smaller but more quality. I remember just a few years ago, I had so many friends, 15, 20 girlfriends, hanging out with all of them, sharing my energy with different people all the time. And then little by little, once you start working on yourself and, you're in your process of evolution and growth and healing, you start just kind of not wanting to be around those people anymore.
Even if you do love them.
Even if you do love them, because you can love them from afar. Wow. And I love quite a few people from afar, and it's better for me, better for them, and it's not coming from a place of judgment. But you know how they say that spiritual growth is often lonely? I think that's very true.
Yeah, and I think that happens a lot of times in a relationship too, right? Because, and you can be with that person for a very long time, but at one point you just turn around and you realize, wow, we're not on the same level anymore. It's either he outgrows you or you outgrow him, right? So, and that's very sad when that happens, because you do feel you still have this love for that person, right? But you're just not aligned anymore. So I think in those situations, especially with partners, it's very hard, right?
Yeah, especially because you can't make someone grow.
Yeah.
Unless they want to. Mm-hmm. And usually this happens when you're younger, like in your early 20s, if you get in a relationship with someone and then you start growing, but they stay the same. That's a huge challenge. And then you have to decide, do you go back to where they are so you can meet them and still be with them? Or do you stay, up here because you did so much work on yourself, but then this person can't go with you?
Yeah.
They're going to stay right here.
But it's hard to stay on that same level because it's almost like you know too much, right? And you don't have anything else in common anymore. So it's just forcing it, So it is better to walk away and kind of distance yourself from that person.
Yeah, it is. It's just hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need, how they say, a real reason to leave someone. And it has to be something serious and not just, you didn't grow and you didn't work on yourself. Because what if the other person was busy working?
Sure.
Or they didn't have time, or they didn't prioritize this, or they're just not in the same level. And for them, healing is not necessarily important. But yeah, that was definitely a pretty deep statement, and that could be a whole topic for a whole day.
I agree. All right, second question.
Oh, you get to ask me all of them in a row?
Right away.
Okay.
You learn to be independent because no one showed up when you actually needed them.
Pretty deep. And I believe that the most independent people are the ones that had no other choice. And even in my own experience, even, from when I was little to now, I had always these big goals and dreams and things that just didn't align with the people around me. Like, I always chose the hard path in life. When things got really comfortable, like, for example, when I was living in Cleveland, I was in my bubble. It was so safe and comfortable, and all the people around me spoke my language, and I get bored with that, and I just wanted to go. And my best friend, actually, Katarina, and we were going to move to LA together. And we just spoke about this on her podcast as well. And last minute, she ended up not wanting to go.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow.
So we talked about it for years, we can't wait. Right after I'm done with college, we're going to LA together. And then for one reason or another, and I can't remember exactly why, she chose not to go, but I think she said it was fear. It was just too much for her at that time. And that's okay, because later on in life, she got to do her own thing, and she moved to Nashville, and she did the whole experience, but it took longer. And so I was just on my own. And it was either stay in my comfort zone and kind of happy, or go into the unknown by myself, because I have this crazy fire in my soul that's not satisfied with okay and mediocre and basic, and get on that plane and go to the city and do it. So becoming independent is, I think some people are born a little more go-getters and hustlers, but also life just doesn't give you another option.
True.
So
yeah, I absolutely agree with that. It's so funny how similar we are, because that was exactly my case as well, right? So I either could have stayed in my hometown and lived like a normal, regular, everyday life, right? Or I was about to pack my things and go, or I was about to pack my things and go to Milan and start kind of fresh and start a new life. So I get that. That's a very hard thing to do, and not a lot of people are capable of doing that. Yeah. So, yeah, it definitely requires some strong independence to do such a thing.
Yeah, and you know how they say you gotta be a little delulu?
Yeah.
I truly believe in that. In order for you to really get to that next level in life and really achieve all your craziest and wildest goals and dreams, you have to be a little delulu, and you have to believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Even when everyone around you is telling you, but what are you doing? But why are you doing that? But are you crazy? And I remember, like, right before moving to LA, everyone, it just felt like the world was against me.
Yeah.
And it was all coming from love.
Yeah.
My family didn't want me to go. They wanted me to stay with them. So, I remember my aunt calling me and saying, but what are you going to do out there by yourself? You have your whole family here. You have us and love and safety and a great life, and you're done with college now and you can start here. But I was like, I'm a little delulu. And I'm going to the next level, and I'll come back and visit you guys, and I love you so much. But
yeah, but you know how they say, fake it until you make it. So there you go.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah. All right, last question. It's a little bit spicy, but sex on a first date, it is okay if you really click with that person right away.
So I would say pretty dumb, just because I don't feel that it's my place to be telling anyone what to do on their first date. And for me personally...
No, for you personally.
Yeah, for me personally, I need to have an emotional connection with someone and get to know them and actually care about them in order to have sex with them and enjoy it. So it's pointless on the first date. But I have multiple friends and acquaintances that have so much fun, and they do have sex on their first date because that was their goal. Not everyone wants to have an emotional connection. Some people just want to go and have fun, and 100%. I don't judge people for doing that at all. I think it's really unfortunate how women get judged more than men. For men, it's almost, you're cool if you go and you have sex on the first date. And then as a woman, it's like, oh, how dare you, you little slut. And it's not fair. Like, a lot of things in life aren't fair. And that's one of them. And I just say, all power to you. Whatever you want to do. May not be for me, but whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, oftentimes I said, I'm so jealous of women who can do that, like go out and have a great time and meet a guy at the bar, and but I was just never one of those people, just because I do as well crave that emotional connection first and foremost. And then that's just how my body works. I can't force myself, right?
Yeah, and sex doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
if you don't have that connection. I don't care how hot the guy is.
Yeah.
If I'm in my head, it doesn't feel good, and I will be awkward and weird, and I'll be like looking like, oh, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, and I'll just say one thing. Thank God my mom doesn't speak English, so skip this one.
She'll be like translating AI.
Yeah, I'm sure.
ChatGPT.
Yeah,
translate this to Croatian.
I didn't say anything bad, so all right.
But we didn't say anything bad. You're so fun. You're such a prudy. I talk about it. You know, my favorite jokes with my mom are sex jokes.
Oh,
my mom, my sister, and I, we laugh like if you saw us together when we're making sex jokes and how we make our mom uncomfortable, you would die. Like, it's so funny. We laugh to the point where we want to pass out because it's just so funny to make people feel uncomfortable. Yeah. And then my mom, she'll get all weird about it, but then she's like,
yeah.
So she likes it too.
No, it's amazing. No, I'm like at the point in my life where I can talk to my mom about sex, of course. But you know, it's always a little bit weird. I just never had that kind of relationship with my mom, you know?
Yeah.
Even when I first slept with my first boyfriend ever, I never told that to my mom. And she never asked. You know what I mean? So
it's almost like don't ask, don't tell.
No, yeah. And so it was always weird with my mom like that.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I remember one time, it comes to mind, my mom, my sister, and I were in Vegas, and there was this like viral picture of this like really big black guy.
Yeah, I saw that. When during COVID, everybody was clicking at that because it said like, oh, do you have COVID? It was some kind of clickbait.
Yes. Right. And I had that on my phone, and he was naked, and you could see that he was very gifted by God, right?
Too gifted.
It could have been fake, I don't know. And we were laughing so hard because we're like, let's show this picture to mommy. Like, let's see what she's gonna say. That I can tell her what it is. And so like, I have this picture on my phone, and I was like running to my mom in her room, and I was like, I have to show you something. Oh my God, look at this. And I showed her, and she's like,
yeah.
Gosh. But she was laughing so hard. I actually might find this video, and if I do, we can put it in here just to show people. But it was freaking hilarious. And I don't know, I think people connect on a few topics no matter where you are in the world, even if you don't talk about it. For whatever reason, it's always pain and suffering, because we all go through pain and suffering in our lives. Another thing is dating. You know, it's interesting, we're all date, and then the sex, of course.
Sure.
So it's definitely a fun topic.
Yeah, it's a fun topic. I think it's important to talk about these topics that are not as common, or not as, and they're not as common. People are not talking about it as much on podcasts and right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always fun, and it always makes you get in.
Yeah. You know, I feel like if I don't say something, my face will. It always gets me in trouble. I'm that person that I just can't stay quiet. And I really believe that when you become silent about the things that matter to you, you slowly start dying on the inside. So in every situation, if people are, you know, saying something that I don't agree with, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to even get involved. But I'm like, yeah, you said it all. I say it all. Yeah. My face just gives it away. And I think it's important to be an open book.
Yeah. And just speak your truth.
Speak your truth and be able to talk about anything. I can sit in any room and talk to anyone about anything. I may not be super educated in everything, but I'm open to learn and hear. And that's why I think it's so important for people to be able to talk.
Yes. And I think a big gift that person can have, it's a curiosity. When you're curious, it's the best thing ever, right? Because you're just, even if you don't agree with certain things, like let's say politics or something, but if you're curious and you're willing to learn, and therefore you can change your beliefs or whatever. But it is very important to be curious.
Yeah.
And just learn all the time.
I was reading this book, and it says that people have died so many times in history just because they wanted to be right so bad. There are people that will lose their life to be right, and they will not let you challenge your beliefs. They will not let you have an opinion, and they will automatically label you as one thing or another just because you think differently than them. It's beyond me. Because I personally love to learn everything and anything in books, and I've challenged many of my own beliefs. I mean, we were both raised Catholic, and it was pretty strict, and and for me to even meditate, that's not good, or do yoga, or that's bad, or can't believe in ayahuasca or past lives, God forbid. But challenging your beliefs is growth, and for you to go to the next level, you have to unlearn everything that you learned, and you have to understand the more you know that you know nothing, the more you will learn.
Exactly. Yeah. So true.
Are you ready?
No.
Well, you made mine spicy, so now I have to change mine around.
Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. So, I believe that you never really, really, really get over your first love.
Pretty deep. I think everybody that had their first love, nobody gets over them.
How come?
In a way, not in a romantic way, or I don't think it's not in that way. I think it's mostly because, majority of people have their first love when they're very young, right?
Yeah.
So I had my first love with whom I was since I was 18 till 25. So we spent 7 years together. And at that age, your frontal lobe is not even fully developed yet, and it's also like you don't have any stressors in life. At least the majority of people don't at that age, right? Life does not hit you at that age. It hits you when you're 30 and over.
It's so funny because the people that are that age, and when I was that age, I would think, oh my God, life is so hard and stressful and anxiety and this and that, but they have no idea how life gets later on.
Life gets hard. So at that moment, during those years, you don't really have any stressors, like I said, and the only thing you have to worry about is you and him, or if you're in college, or I need to study, or if you have some kind of job, right? Life is so easy at that age. And therefore, with that, it's like you just have this whole freedom to devote yourself to that person completely without any noise in the background, I think. And then, I don't know, it's just, as I said, your brain hasn't fully developed yet. That's all you know, especially if you spend that many years with the first, and especially with your first love, right? So I think if you ask anybody, I don't think anybody got over their first love in some way or another, Again, not in a romantic way. I'm not saying I wish I'm still with that person, or it's more like, it's like a nice, like warm and fuzzy melody, So that's my thing.
And then you hear a song and it reminds you of that.
It's it's a beautiful, for me at least, that was a beautiful period of my life, and it was just nice.
It was innocent.
So innocent. That's exactly. Like it was an innocent love, And I mean, I even talked to my husband about this till this day, and I'm like, I don't feel this innocent love for you like I felt for my ex-boyfriend, like I felt for my first love. But it's a different kind of love. Because when especially if you're over 30, and if you're married to somebody, I think that becomes like different type of love where now you're living a life. Now you have all these responsibilities. You have bills to pay. You have all these dramas that can happen, bad things, So I think later on, you even if you stay with your first love and you marry them, I think later on it just becomes okay, how we deal with this problem today. Okay, we're partners, we're best friends. We can talk this through, or we can work this through, so I think it becomes some kind of form of a partnership later on.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately not as exciting. And there isn't that like toxic trait to it that we like when we're younger, like arguments or, just like the going back and forth texting or like butterflies when you see that.
Yeah. No. It's interesting you're saying that. Now when I reflect on my first relation, my longest relation before my husband and I now, it's like, I don't think there was nothing toxic about that relationship. I mean, yes, we did. I'm never like going to bed and not talking to, like that. But it was nothing toxic about it for sure. At least from my part, from what he said. So, yeah, but I see what you're saying. Like, I feel like you feel butterflies more when you're younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Now, as we get older, we see more understanding and support, and just like we seek to have a watch in lives, somebody will be there with you no matter what, So I think it's I think it's two different types of love. So I mean, even if you ask my husband now, he would say, "Oh yeah, my first love that I had when I was in high school, and we dated for 3-4 years." Like the other day we were watching his tape from graduation party or something like that. And we were watching the tape, and there's a car, and you see the car pulling in, and there's a girl coming out of the car. And I looked at the car, and he goes like this. I was like, what was that? He goes, "Oh my God, that's Stacy. That's my very first love." Like I could see how he got, into me. So again.
Did that make you feel a type of way or not?
No, because I do have this. I have the same thing.
And you understand,
so I have understanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so jealous. I'll be so upset with that.
You would? Yeah, I'm not a jealous type. I never was. Doesn't bother me. I'm like, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I'm really not a jealous type.
No, I have moments of jealousy, especially if I'm like PMSing or, I'll have my moments. But I'm usually, if I'm truly happy and there's no issues, there's no trust issues, then there's no jealousy.
Yeah, that's a hard thing when you do have a trust issues or feelings have been hurt before with something that he did. Then for sure it's harder to not have jealous temperament, right? But it's, but that tells you a lot. If your partner is jealous, I think that tells you a lot.
I like it.
Yeah, you do?
I love it. Not crazy jealous. Yeah. I don't want somebody.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Nobody's like super possessive.
Yeah, I don't need you following me.
Yeah. Those kind of partners, they always turn out to be cheaters. When somebody's overly jealous, overly obsessive over you, those type of people are cheaters.
Yes, exactly. When they're like following you and they know your every move and they're checking your phone.
Yeah.
I don't like that kind of jealousy. But I also don't like when someone's like, "Oh, go do whatever you want. I don't care. Have fun. Go here. Go do the girls trip and this girls trip and this girls trip and I don't care about anything." Like, I want to feel like he cares and not obviously controlling everything, but also I don't want everything to be okay or self-interest.
No, there has to be a balance like in everything else. Yeah, I think we all want to feel a little bit of that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't think jealousy is I guess small jealousy is healthy.
Yeah. I know you. I just got some really interesting flashes in my head where I was like, I want you to own me. I want to tell you what to do.
That's fine. Maybe you're that kind of person. I'm not.
I'm totally kidding. Yeah. But sometimes I'll have these thoughts, I'm just like, you don't want to worry about anything. Just tell me everything. Do this, do that, And sometimes this independent, strong woman in me is sick of it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be making the reservations and
of course,
planning trips and doing everything. Like, just call me and tell me, like, baby, pack your bag. And I'm going, you know, like that's
those kind of spontaneous moments, that's healthy, and that's how it should be. Of course, we don't want as a woman to take care of everything. That's big no.
Yeah.
Healthy balance.
Great answer, girly girl. Okay. Another one that I like. Okay. In order for me to heal, I have to have closure with my ex.
That's a good one. Pretty deep. But depends what kind of closure.
Like a conversation or call.
A conversation or call.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most important closure that you can do for yourself is the closure that you can do by yourself. What in your own head.
Explain.
Well, I'll give you an example. With my ex-boyfriend, we had some kind of closure, right? We met after our breakup and we talked about it. And I did feel like I got some type of closure. Okay, but then for a long time, I wasn't really closing those doors. And I feel like it was because of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was my responsibility, not his, to close the door for me.
Got it.
You know? So I think, when it comes to closure, you have to do your own healing. And how I did it, if that's your next question, you got to work on yourself. You got to I think for a long time I didn't close those doors because I wasn't happy with myself. Because I still didn't resolve my traumas that I had. I think about it, like I had huge traumas even throughout that whole relationships, and probably he was suffering because of that, So my point is, yes, the only way to have a closure is to have a closure by yourself. But
I think a conversation does help. Yeah, but it's not necessarily a must. And like you said, sometimes it's so interesting how breakups work, because a lot of times people will compare breakups to actual grief when someone dies. Because if you think about it, this person's in your life for 5 years, 10 years, and then all of a sudden they're gone and you're expected to not talk, not see each other. So it's kind of like they died.
Yes, absolutely.
And the way the grief works is in different stages, and it goes up and down. And one day you can be amazing and great and fine, and then the next day it hits you, and then you're like back to zero.
Exactly.
So
it's not linear. Yeah,
exactly.
When healing is not linear.
So when you say, you gotta have that closure, but by yourself, you have to heal. And like when someone dies, this is where I wanted to go with this. When someone dies, for whatever reason, our brain just automatically goes to the best things that happened with them.
Yeah.
And we are constantly thinking that he was so nice and amazing, and he did this for me, and we did this trip, and look at this picture. And then you cry, and then you hear a song, and you're like, but we danced to this song, and we were laughing, and we were walking on the beach, and this and this and that. And it's like, where are all those negative things that this person did to me? And why did my brain just exit them out? It's almost like you're choosing to suffer because you're not remembering all those things. And that's because it's grief.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's one more.
Okay.
It's completely okay for my boyfriend/husband to follow 1,000 Instagram girls as long as he posts with me.
Priya.
It's fine.
Well, the spiritual Petra wanted to answer like, oh, it's fine. Give him a feed.
I'm sorry. Let me just say something. Just 5 minutes ago, she said, I'm not jealous. I don't care. No, I know. No, I'm glad you said.
If you give me a reason to be jealous, of course, or if you give me a reason to be upset, of course I'm going to be upset if my husband is following 1,000 models, especially like bikini.
Yeah, like OnlyFans girls posting pictures.
Of course,
they're amazing.
No, I'm not saying there's a difference. I'm not saying this is a cheat. That's a cheating, but it's also like hurtful.
Yeah, this is a huge question. So I'm gonna ask you, okay? Because we were talking over each other. Because this is where people are gonna argue that. No, I mean, like, if they're girls posting their asses, OnlyFans models, just naked pictures all the time, what do you think about that?
If their girlfriends do that, or the
No. If
they're following.
If he's following girls that are posting OnlyFans content and, naked pictures, bikini, and lingerie every day.
No, again, I'm not saying it's a cheating, but it's also very hurtful towards me if my husband would do that.
So it's disrespectful.
It's very disrespectful, 100%.
But what if he tells you, I don't care, you can follow 1,000 guys?
Really, I wouldn't have a need to do that. Then I would ask him, but what is your need behind that?
What if he's like, I just like looking at pretty bodies and pretty girls?
That's a very interesting question, because how do you look at porn? Like, if your partner watches porn when he's by himself, then you haven't seen each other.
Listen, the whole porn industry is a topic that I can talk about for days and days.
Yeah, but my point is, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? So you can go on a porn website and look at all these beautiful women and models and what's the name? OnlyFans models. So what would be the difference between that and then him having following? He doesn't even have to follow them. He can just go on somebody's pages and watch their photos.
Yeah.
But my point is, he can do that in private. But if he does that like in front of my eyes, then that's being disrespectful.
So, but you wouldn't mind if he's like looking for it in private?
I wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, but if you knew.
If I knew, again, I would find that disrespectful. I would be like, why are you doing? Yes, no. It would make me feel, for sure. Yeah. But again, I feel like as I'm saying this now, I feel like Petra, like voice in the sound of my head, Petra, you're a hypocrite, because how many times I'll be scrolling the TikTok and I see some hot body and I'll be just like dancing and I'll just be like, huge. And sometimes, like, we were watching this show or movie back in the night, I would comment like, oh my God, look at this thigh. But he would do the same. Like, look at this woman, she's so beautiful. So I think there's a line in that, like a limit, yeah. That's a good question. But on the nose like that, following 1,000 models and watching their pictures and videos all day, every day, and I know about it, no, that's, it's just...
Yeah, because I feel like when I was modeling a lot for lingerie companies and bikini lines, and I was always getting hired to do that because they like my body or whatever, and I would feel uncomfortable if I meet a couple and then they ask me for my Instagram and then the girl and the guy follow me. I'd be like, ooh, I don't want him following. It's almost kind of like, it's a weird feeling that you get, and I just felt like they shouldn't be like looking at my pictures. I just wanted girls to follow me and that single men,
Yeah.
And like it happened to me before where I met this couple on a trip, and I was actually with my ex and they were together, and then the girl followed me, but then the guy followed me too, and he started liking my pictures, and then he started sending little like fire emojis in my DM, and I just felt so uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, what do I even do? Like, it's not that serious for me to say something to her. It's just emojis, but at the same time,
it's wrong. And in my opinion, that's cheating. It's disrespectful. Yeah, disrespectful and some form of cheating.
Yeah.
Because does your girlfriend know that he sent you that emoji?
Well, she's not my friend. She just when I met on a trip. Just say like, no.
Yeah, no. So that's, whatever you hide from your partner, even despite of its little things, that's cheating. That's so form of cheating. Yeah.
I always thought that having a super, super, super open communication with your partner was so important, right? But then if somebody comes to you, like your husband comes to you and he tells you, baby, I had a crazy day and when I was at the gym, there was this woman next to me. She was so hot. Like I couldn't even focus because she was running in front of me and it was distracting me, and she was just so hot. And if he talked like that, I would be like,
I'm back in my things.
See, that's what I'm saying. So it's like but the way you just said that like that, I would be like, you're crazy. Yeah, exactly. And that's, I agree with you, but that's why I say like, okay, we want open communication. We want you to tell us everything, but don't tell us that because we'll kill you. Yeah. Or we'll feel a type of way, or even, because then he'd have to choose the type of words he's going to use to tell us that, like without saying it, but without really saying it. And then, I don't know, it's so complex.
It is, but I prefer open communication, and then you can really see who that person truly is, and if you do want to be with that person or not. So
exactly.
Of course, I'm all for it. All right, girly. I think this one is an hour and a half long. And we sat down and we were like, we don't know what we're going to talk about.
I didn't even get to talk about my first love. Oh my God.
Let's do that. Let's do Dajana's first love. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Like and subscribe, and thanks again for watching us. Mwah.